Hey guys, the video today is going to be my thoughts on the Hubsan H501S, and also it's going to be my thoughts on the quality and the customer service. So very quickly I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons with this. Pros: the looks. It looks quite nice. Quite a nice little drone. It's not terribly big, it's not as small as some of the others, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It looks quite nice. This is what I like about it. It looks quite nice. I like the motors on it. I don't have any issues with the motors that I've had on this. They seem to work very well for me. I like the video transmission board. You get a reasonably good distance on it, and the picture quality through my camera is pretty good. Now this is all based around my experience with mine. Okay, I know there's a lot of you guys out there who have lots of different experiences and they've not all been positive. And this video is in one way about, because the way I fly this around and because the fun I'm having with mine, I don't want you to think that to run out and buy one of these thinking you're going to get the same experience. This has not been a cut and dry experience for me. If you're going to buy one of these, you want to be pretty hands-on, meaning that you're going to have to do firmware updates. You may even get firmware packages sent to you, and it may kill your quad for a while, and you may find that it's going to be at your own expense that you've got to repair this. You need to. These have a tendency, if you look on YouTube, these have a tendency to have issues, and you're going to possibly have flyaways. There's lots of different reasons these things can happen, and some of them are user error, and some of them seem to be just part of the bugginess within some of the software. We know there's bugs because they keep updating the software, and it's not very often you get a new feature, but there are updates for the software nevertheless. The flight times with the batteries don't seem to be too bad when you're just doing a gentle fly around. They say up to 20 minutes, and yeah, I suppose if you're not really giving it any sort of throttle and you're just gently flying around, catching a breeze, letting it go with you and all this sort of thing, yeah, you'll get, around your sort of 18 minutes, 17, 18 minutes. And you'll get a little bit longer, or you'll get that if you run it all the way down to it fail safes and drops out the sky. So when you are really low, I would suggest, when your battery is really low, be really low, because it will just drop out the sky. And that shift, that battery voltage drop between like 6.9 volts and 6.6 volts is very quick indeed. Oof, it goes down. So you can, if you're flying this right, if you're flying it to the optimum of the battery, then you can get sort of 17, 18 minutes out of it. Wear and tear isn't too bad with this. I've put this into a tree. It's hit the ground. Okay, yeah. When it hit the ground, in actual fact, when it hit the ground and it went into the hayfield, it crinked the whole body out. Now, it wasn't a lot, but it's enough to put the balance out of the motor, so you just can't use it. Someone may say, oh, it was only a little tiny dent in the body. Yeah, but it's a twist. It's not going to have the motor sitting properly anymore, so you can't use it, and that's that. The screws, you need to be careful when you're screwing in on these. If you over tighten them, it's very easy to rip the threads out of this plastic, and once it's gone, that's it, it's gone. I've got two of them that don't work very well for me, but it's just something I live with. One of them's in the lampshade casing going into the case, and the other one's in one of these arms. I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of these two arms. The price for one of these, now if you're going to buy from a company in the UK, which was suggested to me by Hubsan to buy from, you are going to get shafted. Yeah, they want £21 per motor, They want £119. £119 for the standard controller. You get that? You can buy the advanced controller for cheaper. You can get the advanced controller for £98 off AliExpress. Alright, let me just tell you that now. They want £27 per battery. Standard battery, no guarantee it's Hubsan. To be honest with you, because they don't show the back of the battery. And when you click through on this, I'm not online in a bit. When you click through on this, I'd suggest you go there. It's called cmldistribution.co-uk. There we go, look. So now, look at some of these prices. So I'm just doing a search for Hubsan H501S, and it's completely different on one computer to the other. Not the prices, but the way it sets it out. So you can see the price here, £119.99, basically £120 for that. £159.99 for this one. £349. And this one says W, I presume that means white, and this one doesn't have anything next to it, so I shouldn't presume, I suppose. Here we are, the H501A, $99.99 for a camera module. H501S, $74.99. And this is what I mean when you just click through on something. That's it. That's all you got. No other information about it, nothing. And that's the same for everything. And so there's no time put into this to help out the, you know, I want details, I do. Especially if I'm going to spend £75 on something, I want to at least make sure it's going to be fitting to mine. Nothing. Availability. And the reason why it's like this is because they don't hold them in stock. Like I said, what they do is they'll take your order for an inflated price and they'll go and source it from somewhere and have it delivered to you. This is who Hubsan recommended to me to buy spares from. When I phoned up this company, I said, can you guarantee it's Hubsan? He said, well, we will search, we'll look for Hubsan parts, and whoever's selling them, we'll buy from them and get them sent to you. So, you know, they could go to AliExpress. Availability, maybe they just got someone on a quick order, maybe they got a few of these in, but can you tell whether this is a genuine Hubsan product or not? There's a bit of extra heat shrink there on that one. Does that look like it's come straight out from Hubsan? Don't know, you know, I don't know what the new quads come out like, whether that is the case. But they don't have a lot of money. £20.99 for GearBest are like £10 6p, and well, Banggood do a price promise anyway, so let's have another look what they got. 2.4, £17.99, 20 quid for the geomagnetic sensor, 15 quid for that little piddly charger, 14 quid for an ESC, or at least I put ESC there. Like I said on my other one, it was like ESC was spelled as like an escape. E, lowercase s and c, but never mind. £4.99. £4.99 for two propellers. £4.99. Now, I did notice actually the other day when I was looking through this that they had motor kits, motor spares, but they don't have them now, where you could choose between different prices for different motors. So well, some of them are going to be better than the others. That's not a bad price, £1.99 for the. But you don't get a choice out of black or white. It's because, you know, where I found them, they're like about £2.50 anyway. But then you got to get them sent from China, so you expect them to be like a little bit more in some respects. But there you go. If you want to buy at overinflated prices, go to what I call China Makes Loads, because I've got a funny feeling, but I don't know who the company is, where it comes from. I know there's something to do with in France, and it's not just Hubsan stuff they do. I just wanted to show you that rather than because I didn't show you on the screen down there. Steer very clear of China Makes Loads. I've decided to call it CML, and just not use them at all. I would be quite happy to tell you why you could buy the other stuff for a lot cheaper. Finding this, if you lose it for any reason, if it flies away, you've probably lost it anyway. But if it comes down somewhere, there are no alarms on it. This is supposed to be, it's advertised as a beginner's quad, but there are no alarms, there's nothing to help you out there. What you do have though is the facility, if you remember, that when it's come down, and hopefully if it hasn't blacked out and you've just lost your screen, if the power is still going to the screen, you'll be able to see your GPS coordinates and you'll be able to copy those down. Do not shut down the controller. You'll be able to, as long as you're out with a pen and pencil, or you've got another facility to be able to take a picture of it. That's what I did with mine. I used my phone to take a photo of it because I didn't have a pen and paper, and then you'll be able to at least track it into, you know, a few meters of when it last got its last GPS update. Not exactly where it may be. It may have been a second between its last GPS update, so it's got that distance that it would have travelled in that second as well. You need to consider that. There's no alarms, there's nothing, and there's no button, no switch that you can flick on that controller that makes this thing start beeping. So at least then, if it is out in the field somewhere, you got an audio thing. Customer service is absolutely terrible. Okay, there's no way you'd have that sort of customer service in the UK for UK companies. That is just not the way it works. The customer service I've had with this, I was sent a firmware upgrade specifically to my email address, the link to my name, my email address, telling me that that's what I needed to sort out my controller. I put a video up about how my controller froze when I was flying, and then I get a few weeks later I get this email. So I think, okay, right, they've sorted it out. They know there's an issue, they've sorted it out. Brilliant stuff. I update my firmware and it kills it all off. I mean, it kills off the chip in the controller that much that it can't be reflashed again. This has been weeks ago, and we've had the dance, we've sent them back and forth emails. Now, they send me an email, I get it, it pings on my machine, and if I'm around I can pick it up, I can read it, and I can respond to it pretty much straight away. I then have to wait 3, 4, 5, 6 days sometimes to get a reply back to that. And the replies are, all I can call them is asinine. They're around the basis of, they will ask me the same question over and over again. This is the one that I've got today come through, and it says, "Dear Simon, sorry for the inconvenience. I'll put it up on the screen so you can read it on there while I read it out. For the board of the transmitter, I think I already offered you the total charge including shipping charge." No, they did not. "I am sorry, seemed that you failed to get my mail. I apologise for that." "Okay, compensate for your inconvenience. We offer you a special discount for a new board of the transmitter. Included everything to be soldered on it. 5.8 gig, 2.4 gig module board." I'd already told them I don't want them. I don't need them. I have the board here. In actual fact, the boards come with the 2.4 on anyway. I've already bought one of these boards from them before, 12 months ago, for $19. And that came with a 2.4 module on there, and I had to take off my 5.8 off my old board and put it onto the new one. Not a problem. $20, right? And it will come with a JST socket. I'm not interested in that. I can put my own JST sockets. I asked them for the bare board. The total charge to be US $50, including shipping charge by standard way of normally 15 days to arrive. Now, we know that the standard charge of standard shipping from China is normally 15, 28 to 45 days. So they're giving me the best possible result of that particular shipping facility, and $50 is not really a bargain, is it? That's not helping me out with my inconvenience. That's not doing me any favours for them messing up my controller. Thanks. That's what they've written underneath, and we can accept the PayPal payment. The PayPal account is nancy.hung@hubsan. The whole case dragging too long, too many things, too many people involved in. I need to get it settled down soon to avoid more inconvenience. That's what they've left me. hey, we messed up your board, you've had to donate the chip off another board to fix your board, now we're going to charge you £50 just to replace the board that you had to use as a donor. $50, sorry, which isn't far off £50 these days anyway, to replace the board that you had to use as a donor to fix your board. Because if it had been left to them, I still wouldn't have this quad working, would I? I still wouldn't have it working. It'd still just be sat there with me thinking, well, I can't fly it. Customer service is rubbish. Know that before you buy one of these. If you do get it, don't get me wrong, I know there's some guys out there who are going to be going, oh, but I've not had any problems with mine. Oh, bully for you. Brilliant. Well done you. And I'm sure you're going to give me a thumbs down or something really asinine, because that's going to be the attitude from it. I've not had any problems, so don't say anything bad about them. Well, there's a lot of people out there that have had problems. And there's a lot of people out there that are going to go into buying one of these things maybe thinking that they are not problematic. If you get a good one, you might be alright. But if something goes wrong, that's when your problems are really going to start. And if you're going to be the person who buys one of these and you've not got another quad to fly, this was the one thing that makes your day. This gives you your flight therapy, if you like, because it's very, isn't it? If you're not into yoga and things like that, this sort of thing, you get your head into a bit of flying, it's so therapeutic. You get a habit based around it. You look for those beautiful days, you try and get away from work early, you get home, you rush home as quick as you can, you just hope you can get those batteries charged, and you've left them nearly charged, but just topping them off. But then if you haven't got this, what are you going to do now? You set everything around it. So if you're one of the people that have got yours and you're all bully good, well, very good for you. Well done you. Give yourself a pat on the back. But if you're one of the people that are going through the problems with these, man, I feel for you guys. I really do, because I've had to go through the experience myself. And today I decided, that's it, I wash my hands. I wash my hands of the Hubsan customer service. This is a ridiculous state of affairs. I understand that they might treat people a bit better in the US because they've got a bigger customer base there. And the corporation, the Hubsan corporate people are acting like the textbook corporation. Sociopaths. We want your money, but that's it. We'll help out those that provide money, but that's it. I've only noticed that with some of these other companies, where you can talk to them straight away before you buy, before they get your money. But as soon as you got it, now you're on a ticket thing where it could take time. But don't get me wrong, the other companies that I deal with on ticket systems are normally with 24, 48 hours tops, and they're dealing with you pretty quick. So it's only Hubsan that I've been having these issues with. So let's have a look. Finding a lost quad, no bloody good. Oh yeah, the file names. If they could get any more ambiguous with the file names when they send you the firmware, they could package it so the H501 firmware has its own firmware, has its own software to upload that firmware to your drone and your quad, I should say, and your controller. But no, you've got to sift through it to make sure you get the right stuff. It wouldn't take them 5 minutes just to rename it appropriately. They've only got to do it once. For every person that downloads, they don't have to rename it for every single person. They're just going to rename it once and leave it on the server for people to download. That's all they're going to do to help out the customer. But no, that seems to be too much for Hubsan again. The camera angle on this. If I've said it before, if there could be some sort of Hubsan suggestion box, which there really doesn't seem to be, to adjust the camera angle. Wouldn't take a lot. Wouldn't take a lot to do it. There's little camera systems out there that have the adjustability. Like in here, there's normally a thing here that you can adjust the angle. Now mine is not in here, but you'd be able to adjust this camera angle in this, and this is a cheap old camera system. You'd think that they could actually build something like that in here, and you could use a screwdriver or something so you could adjust it a bit further down, a bit further forward, a little bit up if you wanted to. But no, it's fixed downwards. Yeah, if you're trying to fly low, which is the best place to fly one of these, you want to keep it. If you're trying to fly low, you're just getting a field view of grass all the time off the floor. So I adjusted mine, and it's great adjusted, because one, I can still fly it low. People said to me the other day, as somebody said on my channel, are you too scared to fly high? If you want the honest answer, mate, yeah, in some respects. I have less chance of a flyaway with this being low. I have less chance of looking at all the horror stories I see on YouTube with this flying low. But I have flown high. I've done my distance, 1.5 kilometres, and gone higher above 400 feet, which is what the illegal allowance is in this country. And I've done these things. And I don't need to keep flying high to pacify somebody else who's just being asinine and leaving ridiculous comments. So, overall, would I buy one of these knowing what I know today? Do you know, because the only other experience I've had with drones so far was a Hubsan H501S, and do you know, that's great. I've still got it. It's never caused me a day's problem, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, right, it doesn't have GPS, it doesn't have altitude hold, it's just manual. And you know, I fly it around in here like a little racetrack between the rooms in my home here, and it's great. Never tried to fly away I'm in, never tried to do anything. I would not recommend this for a first time buyer. First time buyer, first time people who fly these things, I wouldn't recommend this. I'd recommend something smaller, something cheaper, something around about sort of £30–35, like the Hubsan H501S. Get used to that. Get used to flying in manual modes, and then when you do fly one of these, I mean, if you want it just to take up in the air and have a look around, that's fine. You might need to use GPS if you can't get your head around the altitude hold. But if you learn with a little manual, then you will probably not need to be reliant on the GPS, because all the GPS on this does is slow you down anyway. GPS can only update at a certain speed, and so it has to keep you slowed down to keep itself updated. If you want some extra control, if you're going to run into trouble with winds and these sort of things, GPS is going to be the one that takes you there. Because when it's being blown around like this, it's trying to calculate, and as it's being swept off to one side, it's trying to calculate, and it just overloads it. It can't cope. It can't cope. There's just enough technology in here, just enough to do the job. Okay, just enough to do the job. So, and it's only doing the job on the best day, on the best conditions of the day. I've flown in the wind before, but I keep it low. I fly low in the wind where it's going to be less effective. And if it is, and if I'm going to have anything go wrong, it's going to go wrong when it's low. But I fly in altitude hold, so I don't need to rely on the GPS. What else we got? The controller freeze. Yeah, when my controller froze up. Hey, when I got told, oh, we're really sorry, we sent you that firmware by mistake to the wrong email address, but to the same name, then that's what knackered up my controller. But we're going to look after you. They came straight onto my channel to say, when I put a video up about it, that we're going to look after you. They've not looked after me at all. They've done a damage limitation. By when I'm complaining about it, saying this has happened and they made it happen, they come on there, yeah, we're going to look after you. But they've not done anything like that at all. So that's just a damn right lie. They've not looked after me at all. It's weeks later and I've got to pay $50 to be looked after. Okay, that's not looking after me. That's just screwing me. The thing where it doesn't shut off the motors. I mean, you guys, if you haven't had the same experience as me, but for some reason on here, if I do tumble over, you know, for some reason I clip the ground and boom, it goes over and I don't shut off the motors straight away, it burns through the FC flight control cable. Now, when I first told them about this, they said, oh, we'll send you out a new cable. It was 3 months later, I finally got a cable after I asked and asked and asked, and I'd already sent off and got 2 lots of different cables from AliExpress at 2 different times, and they both come through the post. So I was using one of their cables when eventually I got the Hubsan cable through. So again, customer service, load of rubbish. And they lie. Oh, we sent you a cable, but our post delivery told us it got lost in the post. Well, if it's lost, let me ask you this. How would they know? Why would the person the courier, the post people, tell them we lost it? Because you don't know when it's lost, do you? A lie. The same as where it says here about, oh, I am sorry seeing you failed to get my mail. I apologise for that. So the mail servers don't work? I get all the other mail come through. Another lie. It's just a lie. So they're not particularly honest, are they? Have you noticed that with them? Those that proclaim to be so honest don't tend to be so honest. Look at me, I'm honest. Really? Do you not think that, you know, that would just come across anyway? You don't need to actually go around telling people you are, so you are. So there you go. My little thing on this. I'm not going to do like a reviewy type thing, because it's not a review. This is just my experience, how I see it. And if you're watching my videos and you're watching me fly around with this thing, don't think it's just straight out of the box and this is happening like this. Yeah. The looks, it looks nice. It does look nice. But do you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to keep the motors in, I'm going to keep the ESCs in, I'm going to put my own flight controller in here, my own power distribution board, and I'm going to see what it goes like with that. I'm not going to do it straight away. Chances are I'll keep this like this, and I will buy myself a new shell and the bits and pieces and do it, and see if I can actually get the same size motors, but just mod them up a little bit, and the ESCs, and just take a bit more control back. I do like the look of it. That's the thing, I do like the look of this thing. But I don't like the things that I pointed out, and I'll say it again, don't watch my videos and think that you get one of these it's going to be like this. I have to change the props to get it a bit more nippy. I don't fly in GPS hold, you've got to fly in altitude hold mode, and the thing on the controller, the self-centering stick, is absolutely horrible. It would be okay, I suppose, if you're in altitude hold mode, but if you want to switch to manual, which is where you're going to get the best fun with this, then the self-centering stick isn't for you, and that's a cheapness as well. You see, because when you look in the back of that controller, you'll see that both sticks are exactly the same. So instead of having a different stick for the throttle, I suppose it would have made, they would have had to have both of them being able to be changed on these sticks, and that's where the so-called advanced or professional controller comes into it. Is you can actually adjust them and switch from mode 1 to mode 2 and still be able to adjust those sticks, so it drops down the bottom at a twist of a screw. Just be warned. That's it, that's all I'm going to say. Just be warned. You buy one of these, just be warned. You may get one straight out of the box and you're all great, brilliant stuff. Good on you. That's fair. But there's a whole bunch of people who don't have such a great time with it, and you may be one of those people. And if you have to start dealing with customer service, get ready for a headache.